Hello everybody, sorry for the delay. Gotta love this technology. It works, we test it, and then it doesn't work. Sorry about that. Hope you're all staying here. Hope you're finding me. If not, don't worry, always the replay. So hope you're all finding yourself well today. Another week, another beautiful day, and we're painting a beautiful picture. So this is the picture right here. And your basic colors, hope you all see them in the comments of the event, or in the description in the event. I'm trying not to say and I keep saying sorry. So your basic colors, I'm trying to get that Amazon influencer page going. I'm still not there yet. I think I need at least 1,000 likes on my page, and I'm just under. I'm at 8 something. So if the faster we get people to like my page, the faster I can get that influencer page where you can just go right on there and order supplies. So that would be a good thing. And as soon as I get that, I will certainly let you know. But your basic colors today, some blues, any blue you have. Of course, we're all going to have different blues. I have your basic, well, this is a bright blue. Any craft paint's fine, or any paints that you have. Hello, Danielle. Thanks for finding me. Sorry I was late. So a blue, a black, a white. And then for your sky, we're going to have some blue and white in there, as you can see on the top. And then it kind of goes into a white, a yellow, an orangey red. So either you can mix, if you just have primary colors, you could just mix your yellow and your red, or if you have an orange, that's great too. So whatever you have, whatever paint you have, they might not be acrylic. I've seen people do these paintings in watercolors, in colored pencils, on any surface. I use cardboard just because I paint them all, and I'm running out of room in my house, but it is great. I've showed you that you can get those open frames, or any frame, take out the glass and the backing, and you can, as long as you cut your cardboard to a standard size or the size of your frame, you pop it right in. You can interchange them very easy. It makes it for an easier display. But once it's hanging, you don't even know it's on a cardboard. I do paint it white myself for 2 reasons. One, I like having the white background. It makes the colors pop a little bit better, but not always. I've done it without painting it white. I mean, you can use a primer, a gesso, or just your regular white paint. It does make it a little brighter, but if you didn't, no worries. It all works. And what else was I say? Yeah, or you can paint anything. If you have a canvas, that's fabulous. If you have a piece of wood, a piece of paper, whatever you have, just have fun with it. Paintbrushes. So one thicker one could be any size. It doesn't even have to be the one on the angle. Just something to get those larger areas going. A smaller brush. So when we do things like the seagrass, or maybe even some of those lines in the water, maybe you might want to use a smaller brush. It's up to you. Some people can do the whole painting in larger brushes and smaller brushes, depending what size you have, what you're comfortable with. You just do what you can, and you do it the way you want to do it. I don't teach with rules. I show you what I do. I try to keep it as simple as possible, but I want you to make it your own. Make it work for you, for what you have, and for your style, and for what makes you happy. Painting should not be stressful. It should be de-stressing. So let's do that. We also need some water to clean your brushes. I use old jars from different products, pickles, tomato sauce, whatever you have. Paper towels. is always good to have. And then something to put your paint on. It could be just as simple as a paper plate. And that's basically it. I also say a pencil and an eraser. Oops, I just dropped my pencil. But I don't know if you need it. You might need it. You might want to try to sketch out where you want things. But I usually just go with what's happening. You know, the grass doesn't have to go in the exact spot. It could just be wherever. So if that's what you like to do, feel free using the pencil. But I'm probably not going to. I'll just show you how we could do it very freely and show you how it can work as well. Good morning, Linda. Good to see you. You're basically just going to start with a few colors. Now, I don't like putting a lot of paint on my palette because the acrylic paint does, I'm using these also. Sorry, I just grabbed them. They're just easier to squirt on. These I got at my local, general store. They have some arts and crafts. This is called, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Daler and Rowney. You know, see, I don't even know. I'm an artist. I just grab whatever works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not really into the names. But it is simply fabulous. It's a good paint, good amount. I'm just squirting. This is actually, this color is this is an orange. So like an orangey red. I had that. A yellow. I even have these. The same brand, Daler and Rowney. I don't even know. Jeez, that's terrible. You know, I'm an artist. I like to paint. I don't like to research brands. I don't know. It's just like I said, these are getting empty, so I didn't, but they work just the same. All good. Everything works. Good morning, Darlene. Thanks for joining. So we're going to do basically the sky first. We're going to work from the top down. I use my larger brush. You can, now some people, this is a question people ask me all the time about adding water. You certainly can add, get your paintbrush wet first. But it does put it on thinner where you will see the background, especially if you're on a canvas, you'll see all those ridges. And then you're just going to have to add more and more paint anyway to cover those ridges because you shouldn't be afraid about putting paint on. So I personally only use water 99% of the time just to clean my brush. I very rarely mix water with my paint to thin it out. If it starts getting dry and tacky, I'll just put more paint on. That's why I do small amounts. I don't put a lot at a time because I can always add and then I'm not wasting. So that's just what I do. Different artists, you might, if you watch other people on YouTube or wherever, they have different ways of doing things. They're not rule. I don't think they're rules. I think some people think they're rules, which is fine. But I just think you should do what works for you. That's all. This is what works for me. So I'm going to start with a little white just to get it wet and going. And then we can always darken it up. And I'm going to just alternate. I'm going to add a little blue on top of that white. Now again, we all have different color blues. So it's going to look a little different. I have shown on other painting videos to darken this up. You could do a couple of things. If you have a purple, you can add a little bit of a purple. You can even add a pink, whatever colors you have. I don't know, some people just have primary colors, so you can mix things. You can even add a little bit of black if you want to darken it up. I could show you that, but very little bit. You don't want it to get muddy, but you can always add more blue to it. The blue, the black, and the white will give it more of a gray tone, right? Because if you mix black and white, you'll get a gray tone. So it's all what you want. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want it to be dark, so don't add the white. Maybe you want it to be more of like a sky blue, so you want to add more white. You just play with it. But if you like it, you got to know to stop playing with it, because then it's gonna end up blending, and then turning into a different color. So you just want to kind of do it, and when you're happy with it, you need to know when to stop. And if you didn't stop, just start again. The paint dries really fast, so you'll be able to go right over it. So I'm getting this nice blue. Hello, Mom. Good morning. Margaret says, and Kennedy and Gavin are here. Thank you. They are so excited to watch and participate. Oh, great. Nice to have you. And please, I say this all the time too, I would love to see your finished pieces, even if you're not joining me today at this moment, because it might be hard to keep up with. It will be up on my site, on my page, Art by Dawn, for hopefully ever. I didn't get, because we were having the technical difficulties and I was running a little late. I didn't get to type in, step-by-step painting class. I believe, I got to double check. I think this is number 13. So there are 12, might be 14 actually. There might be, and there's at least 13 more behind this one that are in my video section. They're all labeled. You can even go into my past events. I'm trying to keep up with putting the links in the event. So all you have to do is click on that. It'll take you right to the video. So thank you and welcome. And if you enjoy this, like I said, there's more that we have done and more to come. So now I'm going to just start adding white. Now you can do one. Now I was talking, so this is going to be harder to blend, but that's okay. It might give it a nice effect. If you don't want if you can't get the white pure because you got too much blue on your brush, that's when you would clean your brush out. Because if you mix the blue and the orange, you're going to get like a brown. If you're doing, if you're going to add yellow and the blue, you're going to get a green. So you don't want that mixing. So that's might be when it's a good idea to clean your brush. Just get a little bit more on here, and then I'm going to clean my brush. See, now if you're having trouble blending, just go back in with a little bit of the white and the blue. White is a good blender. And now I'm very lightly putting pressure so I could see. I want to see some of those lines of the darker blue, the lighter blue, and the white. So I'm not blending. I'm not putting a lot of pressure and going over it too much. That way I'll keep some of those beautiful definitions of colors. So now I am cleaning my brush. I know my face is hiding my my water container. Anyways, if you are just watching, and some people, I also have people that watch just to watch now and then watch the replay later so that they can rewind it, pause it, maybe start it, then go about your day, maybe another day, return. So if you're doing that, I would love to see you, to say hi. If you are painting, I know it's hard to type and paint at the same time, but I would love to hear what maybe paints you're using. Are they acrylic paints? Are they watercolor paints? What surfaces you're painting on? That's always so interesting to hear. And of course, when you do, at any time, I would love to see your pictures when they're finished, your masterpieces. So I'm going to move on. So I'm going to do a little more white now that my brush is clean. I do talk a lot, but I also do that so I don't go so fast, because I do tend to paint fast. One, because I'm used to it, and I'm more confident in what I'm doing, so I'm not afraid to do it or make a mistake. So I can go a little faster, but I don't want to do that and rush. So if I am going too fast or going too slow, also you can put that in the comments. So I did the white, and now I'm going to go right into a yellow. And again, if you're yellow, everybody has different colors. If your yellow is too bright, all you have to do is add a little bit of the white. It tones it down a little bit. Bring it down as far or keep it as high as you want. And then you could go right into, you can either add a red to make it an orange, or if you have an orange, you can add that. And again, you don't have to, I know we all like to try to follow the reference, the picture that we're looking at, and make it as close to it as it is. Oh, the orange comes up so high, it kind of, but that's how you're going to get stressed out. All you need to do is do it. And then when you like it, because number one, sunsets are never the same. So even if you see a sunset, it's always going to be different. It's always changing. So we don't have to follow anything, because it's not like we're trying to get it to look exactly like anything, because they're always different. So just do it until you like it. Do you like the orange brighter? Do you like the yellow brighter? Do you want it more white? That's what you need to look at, how you like it. Like I think my orange is just a little too bright, so I'm going to add some whites and some yellows. I'm going to have to get more white on my palette. I'm just going to keep alternating until I like the color. And I dip more than once. So I had white on my brush, then I dipped it. You know, you can't see that. I had white on my brush, then I'm dipping it in the orange, and I'm dipping it in the yellow. See, now I've got a bunch of, oh, this is a nice side. See, I got a bunch of colors on my brush. And then I just go. And then it blends. And then I see how far I want to take it. I'm going to get a little more white, because I want to put a little more white on the top to blend it a little more with the color still on my brush, so there's not a drastic line. See, I love how you could see those colors. Like, I'm not going to keep blending it. I want to blend this a little more on the sides, but I love the way that is on the top, just by putting the different colors on my brush. Not giving it a lot of pressure, not playing with it too much. And then you could do as much as you want, as little as you want. Even if you go down too low, we can always go over it with the water. If I'm bringing my horizon line, I might want my horizon line to go a little higher, so I'll just paint over this part. Again, that's what I love acrylic paints. It's good and it's bad. They dry very fast, so it makes it easy to go over things that if you don't like it, or it makes it easy to keep working and not waiting for things to dry. But that can also be a problem, because you might want it wet so you can blend more. That's why oils are good for that. But I don't know. I used to do oils. I don't do oils anymore. All right. So I'm rinsing my brush, because I don't want to play with this anymore. I like it. I like the way it looks. We're going to do that sun at the end, so that it is totally dry and we can get a nice pop of white. I just happened to get a nice little area of white here. It was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose, but it's working out well. You don't need that. And you could put your sun anywhere you want. You don't even have to put it at the horizon line. You could put it anywhere you want. It's up to you. Or you don't even have to put a definition of a sun, like something like this could even be like the sun is poking out behind clouds or something. It's up to you. Again, it's all what you like. Sometimes you feel like, well, if I do that, I might ruin it, or I might not like it. Then don't do it. Don't do it. It's also good to maybe, then if you're second guessing something, to like put it aside, put it on a shelf. It's nice to look at it far away to see, or maybe it does need something. Oh, good, I'm glad I didn't add it. Either way, it's even good to maybe let it sit, come back to it another day, and then you could say, well, I like it, or it does need something. So you don't have to finish it all in one sitting. Sometimes it does take a few days to see how you like the way the painting's coming out. You can always add, and then you're like, good, I can add more, or I'm so glad I stopped. I know I just repeated myself, but I'm just trying to make my point. That's my point. All right, so now we're going to go on to the water. So you just determine where you want. You could just start where you're where it ended, but you definitely don't want to leave any spaces open. So I'm going to go right into my blue directly, and then I'm going to try to make a straight line. Again, doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I do have a nice chunk here, so I'm just going to bring it down. Get it going down, just so I don't have a chunk of paint. And I'm going to go across again to smooth that out. And then, because it's darkest farther away, so the horizon line is going to be your darkest point. So I'm just doing my pure blue. And then I'm going to start adding some white. If you have other blues, you might even want to add that. You can add a couple of different blues. It's up to you. Just fool around, have fun. It's also nice to do it on things like the cardboard is what from packages I'm getting delivered. I'm not spending, well, I spent money on the packages, but I'm not spending any extra money. I just cut up the cardboard and that way, if I don't like it, I didn't waste a lot of money or have these large, canvases pile up sometimes. That's what I'm finding. So I like that that it's something easy to use. And then if I really like this painting, I could do it again. I could maybe buy the canvas or whatever you want to paint on and do it again. And at least all right, this worked, this didn't work. Anyway. Oh, I got yellow on my brush somehow. Probably because I was talking and I dipped it in the wrong thing. So I'm just going to clean that up. No big deal. Turned a little green, not a lot. So we'll just go right over that. So I'm going to add my white. I'm going to add a little blue. A little more blue. There you go. See? No mistakes, right? Bob Ross. He said it all. He said it first. He was a very wise man. Right? No mistakes. Just have fun. Go with it. Now, I do also tend to go fast because your paint does dry. So you want to be able to blend it before it dries. I do find that when painting on the cardboard, even though I primed it, I do find that it like either absorbs the paint, obviously more than a canvas. A canvas doesn't really absorb your paint. You do have to put enough paint on to get into those ridges of a canvas, but other than that, your paint is there. Just make sure you use enough paint. Don't be afraid to use your paint. But I am finding that the cardboard just drinks it up, so it does get drier. So if you are working on cardboard and you're finding that happening, either you need to work just a little bit faster, or maybe you do want to wet it. Maybe dip your brush in the water. It will help it blend more. The only thing that's going to do, you don't want to sop it, because then you're going to get your cardboard wet and soggy. It might start peeling off. You don't want to do that. So you're going to do very little bit of water, and that will help it blend a little bit. Just wet your brush. You don't have to pour paint on or anything like that. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to say you can, I lost my trend. I'll get it back. Wait a second. If you find it getting dry, then you can, I don't know what I was going to say. I'll get it. I'll get it. You don't feel like you have to work too fast. You know, if you know, don't rush it. Just don't go horribly slow. Like maybe don't talk as much as I'm talking. I can't talk and walk at the same time. All right, so see all the little colors? Just and I'm just using the blue and the white. I'm not even using any other colors. Just blue and white. And that's it. And then you just, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. That way, there's nothing, you know, whether I decide to put the little, you know, the seagrass and the little bit of the hill. I don't have to worry about where it's not painted. Because it's hard to like fill it back in and make it still look blended and even. So we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. Make sure all that canvas is covered. Or, well, I'm calling it canvas even though it could be a cardboard. Still a canvas. And that's it. So we got our sky, we got our sunset, and now we got our water. How are we all doing, all right? All right. Everybody's so quiet. Every time I do these paintings, everybody's so quiet. It's great. I love it. That means you're concentrating, or maybe you're even working on something else. That's all good. All right. Just please remember, if you have a question or something, just don't hesitate to type it in. I keep looking up to see how you're all doing. All right, so I like. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to I clean my brush off, and I'm still using the larger brush. I'm going to I'm sorry, I thought someone just messaged me. No, they did not. Okay, I'm going to use this larger brush. Now, again, you might not have a brush that's slanted. You might have a different width brush. It's all fine. All you need to do is, I just want to get some paint on the tip of it, on the end of it. I'm going to do that white, and I'm just dipping, not a lot. So just to get it on there, and I'm going to hold my brush kind of up and down. So you see the tip of my brush. I'm just holding it up and down. And then I'm going to make these, here, I even got a printout here. I'm going to just make these lines of the reflection of the sun. So all I'm going to do, now if you want to just watch me first, because sometimes I can't explain it as much as I could just show it to you. We're just going to go like kind of side to side, kind of lifting it up as we go in a motion, trying to keep it straight. But as you can see, even in this one, it's not perfectly straight, and it looks fabulous. So we're just going to do, and very little pressure. And you want to kind of go on a diagonal, not just straight down. It just gives it a little more definite, realistic look. Now you do as much as you want, as little as you want. Longer lines, have some come out longer and then some shorter on each side. If you get too much blue, like I think, I don't know if my paint's wet on here. I'm picking up some blue, but that's okay. But if you get too much, wash your brush again. Just dry it so it's not wet. And do it until you think that there's enough. You can even do it in a couple of other places. Again, like, all right, so here now when you dip your brush in, if you feel like you have too much on, just wipe some off. You can always add it again, but it's hard to take it off once you get it on your painting. You want it a little more brighter at the top where your sun's going to be. And then you can move it just sporadically in different areas, just to bring it. You can even, another little thing, if you want to just have fun, you can just push it, just if some are a little thicker than others. See? And then you get those other paint lines. Whatever. Now, the reference picture has it more, the white standing out a little more. If you like that, just add more. Mine doesn't have as much. I could go back in. I can add more. But you might like it without a lot. It's up to you. And if you think, now look, now watch, I'm gonna like do something. I like the way that looks, but just say I went, oh look, I don't like that, right? So then I'm gonna take some of that white off my brush. I'm gonna go right in with some blue. I'm gonna go right over that. Get a little more blue, and you just go right over it until you toned it down. All right, you do that throughout the whole thing. You could even just add blue streaks. Tone it down a little bit. Now you say, oh, I think I took too much away. You repeat, right? You clean your brush, get all that excess water off, and then go right in with the white. Not a lot. And then you go back in. Okay? You could do this all day long, but step back, look at it, see whether you think it's too much, too little. I'm just going to do a little more, and then I'm going to call it quits. Okay? Right? So I was just trying to show you, not that you should be doing that all day long. I'm showing you that don't worry. Like if you say, oh, I added too much white, no problem. You add more blue. You have too much, it's too dark, add more white, right? That's it. I just trying to show you that you don't have to get stressed about it. You just play with it until you're happy. See, me, I don't mind playing with it because I enjoy it. So that's me. Some people might get frustrated, you know, and then you don't want that. I'm sorry, I have to do one thing. Okay, there we go. Had to answer somebody. All right, so that's that. So now I'm going to switch to my smaller brush. Now, again, we all have different sizes. I don't know if you want horribly, I don't know if anything, you know, horribly small brush. This is really small. Because paint doesn't really stay on it as well. But if you do, that's okay. We're just going to kind of we're going to do the seagrass, and we're just going to get our line going for our little dune here, little sand dune, and then you could just fill it in. Then we can just fill it in with the larger brush. It's just to get kind of, or you can use your pencil if you're more comfortable using the pencil. Just remember your paint still might be wet, and you don't want to, like if you are using cardboard, you don't want to gouge like a line in it, because if you don't like that line, you're still going to see that little indent. Just things to be careful about. So I'm going to get a little black on my, I don't know where my other black went, so I'll use this. It's all good. Black is black. Doesn't matter what brand of paint you're using. All right, so I get a little bit of paint on my brush, and then you're just going to just determine where do you want it. All right, well, I want my highest point of my, can't see it, my highest point of my sand dune. I want it to maybe start around here, right? So you could put a little line. Maybe you want it a little higher, wherever you want. And then you're just going to wobble your way down. My paint ran out. Wobble your way down, maybe a little hump there, and then we're going to go there. That's it. right? So you're just going to make, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be looking exactly like the reference, right? It's all good. So I'm going to clean that brush, and then I'm going to fill this in with the black. So I'm going to get my big brush again, and I'm just going to fill that in, right? And if you go past your line, so what? Oh, look at that. There's another little bump. That doesn't matter. You're also going to remember, you're also going to add seagrass. So maybe if you came out of your line, well, I'll just put a piece of the seagrass there, right? Make it work for you. Don't fight it. Use it to work for you. Then it gives you one less thing to think about where you're going to put one. I don't know. I know I've been doing this like pretty much all my life, so it might be easy for me to say, just go with it. But just also remember, the more you do it, like if you do enjoy it and you want it to become comfortable and all that stuff, the more you do it, if like anything, the easier it will be, and the more relaxed you'll be and more confidence you'll have. Okay, I'm just filling this in here. And if you don't have a small brush, you could certainly just use your big brush and just do it. Whatever you have, it all works. Just keep it on more of an upright angle, and then you'll get more of a smoother line. Okay. There we go. Now you got your sand dune. All right, I'm going to clean this brush because I'm going to go back to my smaller brush. Just don't want paint to dry on your brush. I mean, you'll be able to wash it out with a little soap and water if you're using acrylics, but it's better to try to they'll last longer if you take a little more care. All right, so I'm going to go back to a little black on my smaller brush, and then we're just going to randomly whisk a little bit up. We're going to make some longer than others. Your paint will run out in certain areas, but that's okay, because it makes it more realistic that they're all on different levels and different heights and darkness and lightness. So if your paint runs out, it's okay. It gives it a little distance effect or feathery effect. You're just going to try to keep the tip of your brush and just whisk it just by your wrist. You can for the longer ones. Let's get a longer one in. And then you determine how high you want it to go. Now your paint's probably going to run out. That's okay. Don't forget, we're going to be adding these at the top, so you don't have to worry too much about making that pronounced with the color. But you might then just go slowly over it. And again, if you wobble, we'll put another, like, see how they have some coming out here, right? You can always add one of those. It's not a problem. And even if it didn't show that, who's to say you can't do it? Nobody. It's your painting. Do it the way you want it. See, I wobbled. But see, we're going to do this. We're going to do random ones. Just coming out, going the other way. Okay. Now nobody sees my wobble, right? Except for you, all saw it, but nobody else has to know, right? Okay, we can make another one come out here, another one come out here. That's it. Now, if you get too much Gopi paint on your brush, wipe it off, clean it off. It will make a better line if you have less paint on your brush. Kelly says, good morning. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me. And then you do as much as you want, as little as you want. have some come off from the sides because, you know, there's obviously more to it than what we're painting. The only thing, just make sure it is coming out from your sand dune and not floating. Well, no big deal if it is, but just to help it look more, you want to keep some space. And then we could do another one here with a little bit of the fluff of the grass. Have them coming different directions. Right, different heights. Put one here. And again, you don't have to follow the reference. You can just do it. Have fun. Put another long one here. One comes out. Some more fluff. I'm calling it fluff. I don't know what it's called. Oop. Right, much or as little as you want. Put a couple of little grasses here. Again, different directions. Some kind of going straight up, some going to the left, some going to the right. There we go. Another one. Kind of go in like this. Oop, ran out. There we go. Oh, I licked my brush. I'm sorry, it's a bad habit. It just helps get a point. It's a very bad habit. Then I'm going to add a couple of more sprigs. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, a couple more coming down here. Some a little longer. Yeah, just having fun. And then I'm going to put, so they left like a space. Then you could just add a few in random places. Again, some going to the left, some going to the right, some going straight up. Some a little longer. And then I'm going to add I'm going to add a long one here. Just got to get some paint on my brush. That would help. There we go. And then a little fluff on that one. There you go. How we doing? Everybody's so quiet. I love it. Love it, love it. All right, so that's that. And now, if you're all ready for me to move on, I'm going to just do the sun. Now, again, a couple of ideas for the sun. It depends. I keep looking for things. It depends on how big you want your sun, how big because of the size of your painting, your surface. David says, I could feel the warm temperatures. Wait a minute. It's hot here today. It is hot. It is hot. It's a good painting for today, right? Hopefully you all can go and enjoy this day. So you can do one of two things. You can just use use yourself, make an oval. If you want it to come out of the horizon, You can just do it yourself. You can even see, like, my paintbrush was wet and I just kind of did it and I could see it. And then if you want to just paint that in with your white, I don't know if you could see it. Whoops. Stuck to my paper towel. Wait a second. Can you see my little bit? My little wet outline? You could do it like that. And if you don't like it, it'll dry, and then it doesn't matter. You can use a cap of something, and put it where you want it, and use your pencil. I don't know where my pencil went. My pencil dropped, but, you know, just trace it around. Make sure you start at the horizon line and stop, or just do it very light. You'll be fine. Can maybe erase it. You can, what else can we do? Anything you want. Or you can even do, I've done this before, where you take your larger brush, start it at that horizon line, and then you kind of flatten it out very gently, and then kind of twist it like a compass, and then lift it up just at the other point. You could do that, whatever you want. I don't know where my pencil went, so I'm not going to, I think I dropped it and it rolled somewhere. So I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to do it by hand myself. But you do what works for you. So I'm just going to go right into that white, pure white. I could still see some of my lines. It's nice to start small, because you can always, sometimes we keep going over our lines, and then before you know it, it's larger than we wanted it to be. So just start it off small. You can always make it a little bigger. It'll be very hard to make it smaller. So we're just go, oh, see, and I got some blue on my brush. So we'll just do that. You can even take a little bit of your paper towel, because otherwise you have to wait for it to dry. That's because I have some blue in my mixed in my white from before. You can always squirt out a little bit of fresh paint if that happened to you as well. Just and if you get on your horizon line, no big deal. You could do, again, a couple of things with it. So if you did, now you can either just add those white lines and just use it to your advantage and just make those lines of the reflection. Okay? Or you could get your blue, and then you could just try to, you know, straighten out the line. Just go over where you went. Whichever way. There you go. Pretty much that's the story. All right? Does anybody have any questions? Just evening out my line there. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? Don't forget, I would love to see your finished masterpieces. You can, as soon as this is finished, you can, are we over?
No.
Oh, what happened?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I gotta figure out how to fix it.
That's all right, no big deal.
Oh shit.
What happened? Did you end me? You did end me. That's all right, no big deal.
I don't know.
Am I still going to be on, or did you?
You're on.
I'm on. All right. See, a lot of technical difficulties today. It's all right. Anyway, when you're done, I would love, when this is over, when we actually do end it, it will be up, downloaded, or uploaded, whatever you call it, and then you'll be able to put a photo in the comments, and I would love to see, yes, big oops, I would love to see your finished pieces. And again, if you have any questions along the lines, you can either ask me questions in the comments, message me. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, or suggestions for me. I'd love to hear it all. So I hope you're all good. And again, have a great time, stay inspired, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
it.